Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the twin V-stitch baby blanket. This baby blanket is approximately 27.5 inches wide but 37 inches long. However, you can always change up the chain multiple and make this wider, and you can always crochet more rows to make it longer. I used a super soft yarn for this pattern and I did it in shades of blue. I really liked this color combination and I've used this a few times for other projects. And as you can see, it's just a simple twin V-stitch pattern. And I started with the gray. I did a darker teal and a lighter teal, and kind of like a creamy white color, and I just repeated that for the entire blanket. Now for this blanket I did not add a border to it, but you can always add any kind of border that you would like. I just liked it without one. So let's begin today's tutorial on how to make the twin V-stitch baby blanket. So for today's tutorial you're going to need a size H 5mm crochet hook. And then for your yarn, you're going to need 2 skeins of 4 different colors. So this is the yarn that I'm using today. And this is called Peyton's Canadiana. This is a 3.5 ounce skein, or 100 grams. It is 285 yards, or 187 meters. I'm sorry, 205 yards, 187 meters. This is 100% acrylic, and this is machine washable and dryable. And this is considered a number 4 worsted weight yarn, and the recommended hook size is a US H8 or 5mm. So you're going to need 2 skeins of winter white, 2 skeins of pale teal, 2 skeins of medium teal, and 2 skeins of pale gray mix. And like I said, these colors I just thought were really cute together. You can always change the colors up to fit a baby girl blanket or gender neutral, or even if you want to make this a bigger throw blanket, you can always make this in the colors of your choice. So let's get started. Okay, so starting with that pale gray mix, we're going to go ahead and begin our chain. So for this blanket, I ended up making 112 chains. If you want to make this bigger or smaller, you can always change up the multiple. So you want to make sure that your chain is in a multiple of 4. So to make your chain, that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to yarn over your hook and pull through your loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue until you have a chain of 112 or any multiple of 4. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a chain of 20 just to show you, but you should have again a chain of 112 or any multiple of 4. So for row 1, we're going to start in the 5th chain from the hook, and we're going to make 2 double crochets. So that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 5 chains from your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and in that 5th hook you're going to make 2 double crochets. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your first double crochet. You're going to make 1 more double crochet into that same chain. So again, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so those skip stitches that you made are going to count as your first double crochet and your skip stitch. And after that, you're going to find that very next chain, which is going to be right here, and you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to make 2 double crochets into that very next chain. So 1 and 2. Next, you're going to skip 2 chains, and you're going to make 2 double crochets into each of the next 2 chains. So skip the next 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that, you're going to make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. In that chain right after that, you're going to go ahead and again make 2 double crochets. So in the next chain, make 2 double crochets. And then you're just going to repeat this all the way across to the end of your row. So again, you're going to skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that, make 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2, and then in the chain after that, again make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Okay, skip the next 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that, make 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2, in the chain right after that, make 2 double crochets. You're going to repeat this all the way across to the end of your row, and then when you get to the end of your row, you should have 2 chains remaining. You're going to skip 1 chain, and you're going to make 1 double crochet into that very last stitch. Okay, so this is what your first row is going to look like. Obviously, it's going to look, you're going to have more stitches when you have a longer row. And for this blanket, you can always, if you have trouble keeping your ends straight, I highly recommend getting your stitch markers and putting them in the first and last stitches. So for this, you're going to put in this very last double crochet that you just made. And then for the beginning, we have those skipped double crochets. You're just going to count up 3 chains, and you're going to put the stitch marker right in there. So 1, 2, and 3. So you should have your double crochet, and then you should have 1 chain, and then the chain after that, which is going to be the 3rd chain up. That's where you're going to put your stitch marker. And then as you make more rows, you're obviously just going to move your stitch marker up. Okay, so for row 2, we're going to make a chain of 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and turn our work. This chain 3 is going to count as our first double crochet. We're going to skip that very first stitch, which is going to be this stitch right here. And in the next stitch after that, we're going to skip this one as well. So you're going to skip the first 2 stitches. So this stitch right here, again, it's going to be your chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet. So you're not going to work into this stitch. You're going to skip over this stitch, and you're going to be working in the next 2. So if you pull your work apart, you could see 4 double crochets. We're going to be working with the inner 2 double crochet stitches. So this stitch and this stitch right here. So these two where my finger is, you're going to be working in those two stitches. So again, you're going to skip this stitch right here, and the stitch after that, you're going to make 2 double crochets. Now when you make your double crochets, you want to make sure you grab both loops in order to grab the full stitch. So as you can see, you have the 2 loops right there. You're going to grab a hold of both of them to include the full stitch. Okay, and then in the stitch after that, make 2 double crochets. And then when you take a look at your work, you're going to see your twin V stitches sitting right on top of one another. So that's why you always want to work with the inner 2 stitches and leave the outer 2 stitches unworked. Okay, so now we can begin our repeat. So the repeat is skip the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and in this stitch after that, make 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2, and then in the stitch after that, make 2 more double crochets. 1 and 2. So again, repeat that all the way across, skip the next 2 stitches, and in the 2 stitches after that, you're going to make 2 double crochets in each. So 1 and 2. The stitch after that, make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in the 2 stitches after that, make 2 double crochets in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, 1, and 2. Okay, so when you get to the end of your row, it might be a little bit tricky at first, but I will walk you through it. So you're going to have your last double crochet right here, and then you're going to have those skipped chains. So you're going to skip this last double crochet, you're going to skip this next chain, and in that next chain after that, where you have your stitch marker, that is where you're going to insert your hook and make your last double crochet of the row. So again, skip this last double crochet, skip the chain right after, and then the next chain, go ahead and make your double crochet. And that's what 2 rows are going to look like. Again, you're going to want your twin V stitches to sit right on top of one another, and then at the end of your row, you're going to have a double crochet at the beginning and then a double crochet at the end to keep everything in balance. So I made 6 rows of each color before I changed colors, and I'm going to show you how to change colors if you were to do that right now. So when you get to the end of your row and you are working that last double crochet, instead of yarning over with your old color, you're going to introduce the new color. Now, as this is just a swatch, I am not going to cut my yarn, but in order for your blanket to work, you're going to cut your yarn about maybe about this length, maybe about a few inches or so, just to give yourself enough of a tail to weave in later. So you're going to introduce your new color, which in my case is going to be that medium teal color. Okay, so in order to introduce the new color, you're going to leave a little bit of a tail, and you're going to lay the new color right over your crochet hook, and you're going to yarn over and pull through with that new color. And then what I like to do is I like to give both of the tails a little bit of a tug just to tighten it up a little bit, and then you can go ahead and continue with your pattern. So the pattern is just repeating row 2 over and over. So again, 1, 2, 3 chains and turn, and you're going to skip that first stitch, which is going to be your first double crochet, and in the next 2 double crochets you're going to go ahead and make 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, and then in the next stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. You're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then again in the middle 2 stitches of your twin V stitch, you're going to make 2 double crochets in each. So 1 double crochet, 2, 1 double crochet, and 2. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in the 2 stitches after that make 2 double crochets in each of those stitches. So 1 and 2, and the stitch after that 1 and 2. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in the 2 stitches after that make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So repeat that all the way across, and then when you get to the end of your row you're going to see that chain 3. So you have your last double crochet, and then you have your chain 3. So in that second chain of your chain 3, you're going to insert your hook and make that final double crochet. So you have 3 chains, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to skip that first chain, and you're going to go into that second chain and make 1 double crochet. So that is what your blanket's going to look like. So again, I did 6 rows of each color. I started with the pale gray mix, I went to the medium teal, I went to the pale teal, and then I went to the winter white. And I really like that color combination, like I said. So you're going to continue your blanket, and you're going to make a total of 78 rows. And for my blanket, I started with the gray and then I ended with the gray because I wanted the blanket to look a little bit more balanced with those colors together. So let me show you the completed blanket. So this is what the blanket looks like. Again, I have the gray, that medium teal, the pale teal, the white, and then I went back and I repeated that. And again, I have the blanket starting and ending with that gray color. Now, if you do need help with weaving in the ends, I can show you how to do that really fast. So you're going to go ahead and grab a tapestry needle or yarn needle, whatever you want to call it, and let's go ahead and weave in this end. So you might want to tighten your ends a little bit. And because of all the color changes, your color changes in your yarn ends are all going to be on the one side of your blanket, which is a little bit helpful. And you're just going to weave in between your stitches, and you're going to keep all the colors together. So for instance, this is the medium teal. So you're going to be weaving it into the medium teal section of your blanket. And then that way your tail is hidden a little bit more. And again, I just like to go in between the stitches to hide that. You don't want to pull your yarn tail too tight. And then you just go ahead and go in the opposite direction. And then I like to go one more time just to make sure it's extra secure. And just go in between those stitches to really hide your yarn end. And you're going to repeat this for all your yarn ends. Again, don't pull too tight. And then once you feel that your tail is secure, you can go ahead and just cut that off. And you can do that again for this end as well. But this is what the finished twin V-stitch baby blanket looks like. Again, this is a really nice color combination. You can always change up the colors. You can make it into a solid color. You can use variegated colors. You can pretty much use whatever you would like. And you can always change up this pattern to make this a wider blanket. And you can make this a longer blanket if you would like as well. So thank you so much for joining me today on learning how to crochet the twin V-stitch baby blanket. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!